Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Barakahak Wadash, Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who ruled and teach well. In peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. This is the Brother Ra'aya coming at you with another lesson, and I'll be reading from an article on Futurism.com titled, Scientists Spot Mysterious Object in Our Galaxy Pulsing Every 44 minutes. And Elder Yashuamba of the Dallas camp read a little bit of this information in one of the lessons he did recently, and he was saying, hey, it would have been beautiful if it was every 144 minutes, but hey, 44 minutes lets us know what time it is, unlike anything we have seen before. And hey, I believe that this object pulsing every 44 minutes that Esau can't explain is one of the chariots of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, which the chariots are what man ignorantly refers to as a so-called UFOs or UAPs, as they're called now, unidentified flying objects. And you know, over the last couple of years, there's been such an uptick in UFO or chariot sightings all across the planet that these different governments have had to disclose their existence and their knowledge about them. And hey, the reason for such an uptick in chariot sightings, and they're going to continue to make themselves much more apparent out here, is because we are living in the last days, you know, the last seconds of the last days of the rulership of these heathen nations, chiefly of the Edomites, or so-called white people, which the chariots are coming to do two things: destroy these heathens as rulerships and save the children of Israel, beginning with the elect. The children of Israel consisting of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as well as the Israelite foreigners who, through the scattering from the curses and living amongst these heathen nations, have come to look like these heathen nations over the generations. But let's get into it. Astronomers have spotted something strange and spectacular, a mysterious object that keeps emitting pulses every 44 minutes. In a press release from Australia's Curtin University, which was part of the international team that detected the object just 15,000 light years away in our Milky Way galaxy, astronomers explained that the find was all the more stunning because the signal is coming in the form of both X-rays and radio waves. The object, which was named ASKAP J1832-0911 after Australia's ASKAP radio telescope that was used to detect it, was discovered emitting 2-minute-long pulses that would pause and then repeat 44 minutes later. As the Curtin press release explains, the researchers lucked out when they realized that NASA's Chandra X-ray Observatory was observing the same part of the sky and detected the same repeating signal in X-ray form. And, you know, Esau's just going into his technical jargon, so I'm just trying to hit the main points. This dual-natured pulse belongs to a newly discovered class of space phenomena known as long-period radio transients, or LPTs for short. According to Zaiting Andy Wang, an ICAR-affiliated Curtin astronomer and the lead author of a paper about the finding that was just published in the Journal of Nature, discovering the dual nature of LPTs in such a coincidental manner felt like finding a needle in the haystack. Because LPTs are such a new phenomena to astronomers, they can't say for sure what causes them. This object is unlike anything we have seen before, said Wang. But hey, according to the scriptures, I believe, it's a chariot, especially since it was, pulsing every 44 minutes. And we know that the elect are made up of what? You have the multitude, but then you have the head of the elect, the 144,000. And like I said at the beginning of the lesson, the chariots are coming to do two things. Take away, the rulership of these heathens, beginning with Esau, and save the elect of the nation of Israel, which brings me to Zechariah chapter 5. I'm going to start at verse 1. Then I turned and lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a flying roll. And, when Zechariah, saw this chariot, it had the appearance of a flying roll, which the chariots are not bound by the physics or a scientific understanding of man. They can come in many different shapes, sizes, colors, you name it. We're talking about the heavenly vehicles of the Most High. And he said unto me, What seest thou? And I answered, I see a flying roll. The length thereof is 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof 10 cubits. The dimensions and the size of this chariot. Verse 3. Then said he unto me, This is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth. For everyone that stealeth shall be cut off, as on this side according to it, and everyone that sweareth shall be cut off, as on that side according to it. As it said, this is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth, to cut off everyone that stealeth on this side according to it. And how did Esau Edom gain control of the planet? Through theft, rape, robbery, and murder, especially the Americas from the northern kingdom of Israel, you so-called Latinos and Native Americans. And everyone that sweareth, sweareth by false gods, which, these heathens all swear upon false gods. And, the wicked of our people swear upon false gods, shall be cut off, as on that side according to it. The chariots as well as the nuclear missiles are going to be the ultimate form of equality when they come bringing this great judgment from Yahweh Bahashem Yahawashi. Verse 4. I will bring it forth, saith Yahweh of hosts, and it shall enter into the house of the thief, Esau Edom, chiefly America, and into the house of him that sweareth falsely by my name. Hey, you Israelites that know you're Israelites out here that, are, falsifying the doctrine. And hey, a lot of y'all aren't even calling on the name either. Hey, you're not exempt just because you're an Israelite that knows you're an Israelite. And it shall remain in the midst of his house, and shall consume it with the timber thereof, and with the stones thereof, shooting that concentrated heat or so-called laser beams from it, helping and fueling that fire that's going to destroy America. This is Isaiah 66, verses 15 to 16. For behold, Yahweh will come with fire, and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury, and his rebuke with flames of fire. Hey, that curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth, and shall consume the house with the timber and the stone thereof in it. For by fire and by his sword will Yahweh plead with all flesh, and the slain of Yahweh will be many. That great judgment he's coming to bring with the chariots and one of his other weaponry, that sword, going into those nuclear missiles. Because when you read Psalms 17 and 13, the wicked, which is Esau Edom, according to the scriptures, is the sword of the Lord. And the Lord's going to put it on his spirit, to shoot those nukes during World War III. And hey, these other heathens have that nuclear technology as well. But now I'm going to go to Revelation chapter 1. I'm going to start at verse 1. And the header reads, the revelation or the unveiling, the appearing of Yahawashi Hamashayak, which Yahawashi is the true name of the Son of the Most High. The revelation of Yahawashi Hamashayak, which the Most High gave unto him to shew unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass, and he sent and signified it by his angel unto his servant John. I'm going to jump down to verse 7. Behold, he, speaking of Yahawashi, cometh with clouds. Another description of the chariots, which when you go to Psalms 104, I believe verse 3, it says, the Lord maketh his chariots as the clouds. Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him, because reincarnation is biblical. So those centurions that pierced Yahawashi on the cross back then are back here today to receive their judgment from him personally. And all kindreds or nations of the earth shall wail because of him. Even so, Aman. Why are they going to wail? Because Yahweh Bahashem Yahawashi is coming with his chariots in his great anger, with rebukes and flames of fire, and many that dwell upon the earth, shall be destroyed by them. And then, as I've been saying, there's the flip side to it. They're also coming to save the elect of the nation of Israel, which again, the head of the elect are the 144,000. And as it said in that article, this object, which these astronomers and scientists say they've never seen before, is pulsing every 44 minutes. This is Jeremiah chapter 10. I'm going to read verses 1 to 2. Hear ye the word which Yahweh speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith Yahweh, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. And when there are, chariot sightings and other strange events in the sky, these heathens wonder at them, and a lot of them are dismayed at them because they don't understand what they truly are. But with our understanding of the scriptures, we are not dismayed at these things. We know that they are the vehicles of our salvation. And where it said, learn not the ways of the heathen, this pseudoscience and astronomy that Esau pushes, which in that article, he was given a lot of technical terms, would make the average person think, oh, this is just some naturally forming new discovered phenomena, when it could very well be a chariot. And, we don't go by Esau's, breakdown of things, which is what has these people drunk, spiritually and confused out here, which is why, we're able to cut through his lies. And when strange things like these occur, we're able to line it up with the scriptures. But this brings me to my final precept in Luke chapter 21. I'm going to read verses 25 to 28. Because these chariots, as we get closer and closer to the end, are going to make themselves more pronounced out here. Where people are just going to be able to, it's not just going to be a glowing orb in the sky moving around and speculation. People are going to be able to make out, how they look, because they're going to be that close. And people are going to be getting that much more frightened out here. Best believe that the elites know that the chariots exist and know exactly what they are. Hence, why all these governments, especially the U.S., are creating space forces out here. Military, space-capable, components, because they're actually going to try to fight against the Lord's return, which is that war in heaven in Revelation chapter 12. But as it says, the dragon and his angels, Esau, Edom's, power structure and his military assets are going to be cast down to the earth, just completely wiped the floor with. And there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon, these blood moons, lunar eclipses and solar eclipses, and in the stars, mysterious objects never before seen, pulsing every 44 minutes. And upon the earth, distress of nations, with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring, these heathens being dismayed at the signs of heaven, and all these different calamities that are about to take place. The famines, the pestilences, the wars and the rumors of wars. men's hearts or minds failing them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, the great judgments of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. For the powers of heaven shall be shaken. These elites in rulership, they think they're in control right now, moving everything to bring about their NWO, their great RESET. But there's going to come a point to where the Lord's going to show them that you're not in control and that this is my, movie and you're just actors in it. Verse 27, and then shall the Son of Man, Yahushai, coming in a cloud, the revelation of Yahushai Hamashiach, and he cometh swift with clouds, and every eye shall see him. And then they shall see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh. The chariots are the vehicles of destruction for these heathens, and the vehicles of salvation for the elect. So that's it with this video. With this video, I hope you sincere Akim and Akwath were edified. Just keep strong. We are almost out of this final wicked captivity of the heathen nations, chiefly of the Edomites. And as always, I'm going to say Abad Babol, Kwam Yasharella, and until next time, Shalom. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Barakahak Wadash, Barakatum. Shalom Akim. This is just an addendum. I wanted to do this video because, some new information came out that I'm going to read about a little bit in this article, which just, backs up the topic of this video with these, objects and strange sightings taking place in the heavens that Esau scientists are speculating on, but that more likely than not, they're the chariots of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. Like I said in the previous video, as we get closer and closer, or as I said in this video, as we get closer and closer to the end of things, they're just going to make their presence more and more pronounced out here. But this is an article from livescience.com titled, Astronomers Spot Potential Interstellar Visitor Shooting Through the Solar System Toward Earth. A newly discovered object dubbed A11PL3Z appears to be moving too fast and straight to have originated in the solar system. If confirmed, it will be the third interstellar visitor ever spotted. NASA confirmed that A11PL3Z is an interstellar object and gave it a new official name, 3I Atlas. The agency also revealed that the object is a comet, not an asteroid. But when we read further down, they're simply speculating that it's a comet, and updated other information about its trajectory through the solar system. Astronomers have spotted what they think might be an interstellar object hurtling through the solar system, and it's headed toward us. The visiting space object, potentially the third of its kind ever seen, will make its closest approach to the sun in around 4 months before eventually leaving our cosmic neighborhood forever. The newly discovered object was first spotted in data collected between June 29th and June 25th and June 29th by the Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Last Alert System, ATLAS, which automatically scans the night sky using telescopes in Hawaii and South Africa. A11PL3Z is most likely a large asteroid or maybe a comet. Just speculating on what it is. Potentially spanning to 12 miles or 20 kilometers. And, in the scriptures, it explains that the chariot Yahushua is going to be returning in was so massive that the prophet Esdras couldn't see the end of it. And I'm not saying that this object is that, but, as we read in that Zechariah 5, the chariots can come in many different shapes and sizes. But this is 2nd Esdras chapter 13. I'm going to start at verse 1. And it came to pass after 7 days, I dreamed a dream by night. And lo, there arose a wind from the sea, that had moved all the waves thereof. And I beheld, and lo, that man, speaking of Yahushai, waxed strong with the thousands of heaven, because Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai is coming back with the armies of heaven, fleets of chariots. Real quick, Psalms 68 and 17. The chariots of the Most High are 20,000, even thousands of angels. The Lord is among them as in Sinai in the holy place. And one angel without a chariot could destroy the entire planet. So the Lord is coming with overkill, to really show who the power is. This is Revelation 19. I'm going to start at verse 11. And the header reads, The coming of Hamashiach. And I saw heaven opened, and behold, a white horse, speaking of Yahushai's chariot. And he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he doth judge and make war. The vehicles of destruction for the heathens, but the vehicles of salvation for the elect. His eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns. And he had a name written that no man knew but he himself. And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood. And his name is called the Word of the Most High. And in John chapter 1, it says Yahushua is the word of the Lord made flesh. But those many crowns on his head represent him taking away these heathens' rulership. And his vesture dipped in blood is symbolic for the great death and destruction he's coming to bring, especially against you Edomites. Isaiah 63, Who is this that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from Basra? And the armies which are in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. Michael, the archangel, the other angels with those fleets of chariots. So again, and I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. And when he turned his countenance to look, all things trembled that were seen under him. And whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice, like as the earth faileth when it feeleth the fire, and that concentrated heat, those laser beams being fired from the chariots. But here's the main point I wanted to get to. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of heaven, from the four corners of the earth, who are going to be gathered down into the valley of Jehoshaphat over in the so-called Middle East for the war of Armageddon, the battle in the valley of Jehoshaphat, which Yahushua is going to make a guest appearance during, to subdue the man that came out of the sea, or the Shemayim, the heavens. But I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain, and flew up upon it, that white horse. But I would have seen the region or place whereout the hill was graven, and I could not, showing how massive that chariot was. A11 PL37 is spanning up to 12 miles or 20 kilometers. It is traveling toward the inner solar system at around 152,000 miles per hour and is approaching us from the part of the night sky where the bar of the Milky Way is located. Until now, only 2 confirmed interstellar visitors have been spotted. Comet 2I Borisov, which was seen sailing through the solar system in 2019, and Oumuamua, a cigar-shaped object that made headlines in 2017, which, a couple of months ago I did a video how they're talking about it was making its return with some friends. Made headlines in 2017 when some astronomers, listen to this, argued it was potentially an alien probe before experts showed it was most likely a hydrogen-spewing space rock. So those in the know what's going on. But that's it with this article. And with this video, hey, as I ended the first part of this video with in that Luke 21, And when these things come to pass, then lift up your heads and look, for your salvation draweth nigh. Hey, we're almost out of here, Akim, and you feel sincere Akwath, so keep pushing. Shalom.